Hello YouTube, this is ChardarYuGiOh with a deck profile. I got first place at locals today playing Tri-Brigade Destiny Hero. I don't really think this is at all the best deck by any means, but it was cards I had access to and it performed fairly well. I played 3 Fractal, 3 Kit, 3 Nerval, and just 2 Karis, very standard. I played Rescue Cat. I was not playing Bird Up. And I played 3 Gamma and Driver. For hand traps, I only played 3 Draw and Nibs on top of the Driver. So this is all fairly standard Tri-Brigade stuff, but my thinking with this deck was that Tri-Brigade is fairly underpowered relative to the rest of the format, comparing to something like Sword Soul or the Synchro decks with the Adventurer tokens. And so I wanted to play the most high impact cards that I could, and Nibiru and Drawl definitely fit that bill, where something like Ash or Imperm, almost every deck can play through it. Like, there's some choke points, or if they have bad hands, then an Ash can be really impactful. But Nibiru and Drawl can just straight up end the turn of those decks. Like, if you draw them, they just can't play. Or if you nib them and clear out their entire board before they can set up Baron or any negates. So, was not playing Ash or Imperms anywhere in the deck, but I feel like Nib and Draw was probably the most impactful things this deck could do. And then Gamma just synergizes with this deck extremely well. Similar to Ash and Imperm, you're only trading 1 card for one of your opponent's effects, so it's not as powerful. But when you're playing cards like Fractal and Rescue Cat, Gamma has a lot of synergy with these cards, because your opponent will, if they have an Ash, will probably try to Ash Fractal, and then you can chain Gamma, or you banish the Cat as cost, and then you can chain the Gamma, summon the Driver, make an Omega, and take another card out of your opponent's hand. So Gamma just synergizes with the deck in a way a lot of other hand traps don't. And beyond that, it was just trying to play the most impactful cards possible. I played Celestial and Dasher because we're playing Destiny Heroes. I played Instant Fusion, Tenki, and Foolish Burial. Instant Fusion is for the Magic-y beast, Tenki just gets you to Fractal, and then Foolish can get you to Kit or Nerval. So these are starters for the deck, just additional copies of Tri-Brigade cards, and then Instant Fusion is an extender. If you have Instant Fusion and your opponent Veilers or Imperms your normal summon, you can still get out to Fairjeet or something else. Occasionally, if you have a level 4, and this didn't come up for me today, but if you do have a level 4 on the board, you can summon out the Magic-y Beast and then Synchro into Omega that way. That didn't come up today, but it's another option. Called By and Droplets, these are just extremely powerful cards. Called By helps you fight through hand traps and then can be used defensively. If you set it, most of the decks are used in the graveyard right now, and you can Call By, take out a Phantom Knight monster, something like that. And then Droplet just lets you play, can be used defensively, and also lets you play through boards, because this deck doesn't go second super well. This is another good reason to be playing cards like Draw and Nib, because we need to maximize our ability to go second, because our deck isn't great at it. Playing 3 Pot of Prosperity. Playing Pot of Prosperities over Desires, mostly because we're playing the Destiny Hero package, and we don't want to lose either of our Destiny Hero monsters. This does help make our deck more consistent, but it doesn't help us get card advantage, so it's frustrating, but we really can't play Desires, especially because Desires is at 1, and we just want our deck to be as consistent as possible. Conflicts a little bit with Baron Blossom, which is annoying, but I still think this is the best option. And then 2 Fusion Destiny, and then only 2 Revolt. The theory with only 2 Revolt is that it's extremely powerful. It's easily the best card in the Tri-Brigade archetype. But the problem with Revolt is that the 3rd copy only comes up in extremely grindy games, which I wasn't expecting to see a lot of. Most of the decks are super crazy combo decks trying to set up unbreakable boards, and I just didn't think that grind game was going to happen. Either I would stop my opponent with Nib and Draw and OTK them, or set up enough disruption between Destiny Hero, Phoenix Enforcer, end the revolt, sure egg, to stop my opponent from going off, and then OTK them again. Like, I didn't think the game would ever go long enough, this format, to make the third revolt relevant. In the extra deck, playing 2 Baron Blossom, 1 Bear Brum, 1 Rugal, and 2 Shurig. Pretty standard lineup. Almirage, Anaconda for Fusion Enforcer, Ancient Warriors for when you draw Fusion Destiny, Doom Eagle. Doom Eagle was actually super good today because I kept putting Rays back in the deck. Access Code Talker, Appaloosa, Phoenix Enforcer, Magic Key Beast, and Omega. So nothing, not much to talk about here. The main idea of the deck is you want to set up Revolt with the Destiny Hero Fusion, Phoenix Enforcer, and the Ancient Warriors Oath. So basically, you just want this to be as flexible as possible. We have access code to go for OTKs. Omega is really good. If you do get a Gamma off on your turn, you get to Omega to get a card out of your opponent's hand. Beyond that, just get to Phoenix Enforcer and disrupt your opponent until you can OTK them. For the side deck, continuing the same theory of just trying to play the most impactful cards possible. Cited 3 Sanctums and a Scythe. This is one of the most disruptive things you can do going first. If you just set a Sanctum, summon a Scythe, lock your opponent out of the extra deck. And then drawing Scythe isn't even the worst because we are playing Phoenix Enforcer. So if we draw a Scythe, we can just set it, blow it up with Phoenix Enforcer. Not playing Dagda because it's pretty hard to get into Anaconda plus Dagda while still getting to Revolt in this deck. So just trying to blow our opponent out, because I do believe Tri-Brigade is less powerful than most of the other decks in this format. So the idea is just to play as many unfair cards as possible between Scythe, Nib, and Draw, and try to end the game as quickly as possible. 3 Alpha and Pankratops. These are all for going second to try to crack boards. The actual Tri-Brigade cards aren't great at cracking boards, but summoning huge monsters and attacking over something and then tagging them out for Alpha, we can either bounce it and resummon it. For Pankratops, attack over something and then pop something. Just very flexible answers. Phantasme itself isn't great, but it helps you draw into more impactful cards. So Phantasme helps us draw into our Nibiru and draw into our draw. And with Imperial Order Band, I was expecting more Sky Strikers. So Phantasme did end up being pretty good. And then for back row decks, Evenly Match and Duster. I was talking to a friend last night, and our theory was that Duster and Lightning Storm would be better now that Imperial Order's gone, because there's not as much chainable back row. But because Imperial Order's gone and there's not as much chainable back row, people might not be playing as many back row decks. And then a lot of the decks are just setting up crazy boards with lots of monster negates with like Appaloosas. And so Evenly Matched, being able to deal with back row and monsters, felt relevant. And so at the very last minute, I decided to go with Evenly Matched. Honestly, I drew this as in the middle of games, and I never got to actually activate it. It just sat dead in my hand. So it didn't do anything there, but Lightning Storm wouldn't have done anything either. So I think Evenly Matched was okay. Side deck might use some work. I really, really like the theory behind playing the Scythe and Sanctum and just trying to play the most broken cards possible in this deck. So I agree with this. I like Phantasme, Pankratops Alpha. Those were all great. I'm not sure about Evenly versus Cosmic Cyclone or Lightning Storm yet, but Evenly being able to deal with crack boards and deal with back row seemed relevant. So gonna keep testing it. Let me know what you think of the deck, and thank you for watching.